I'd like to share with you some of what campus ministry offers with a brief video. And in this video, you will see our students on retreat at San Damiano, participating in our All Saints Dia de Muertos liturgy procession. You'll see students sharing prayers from different faith traditions during our Interfaith Thanksgiving liturgy. You'll also see our campus ministry team seniors extending a warm welcome this year at our opening Mass of the Holy Spirit. And it ends with our last year's campus ministry team seniors unloading holiday gifts at our St. Vincent's Day Home for our holiday drive. So enjoy this movie. Do you have some volume, Michael?
And to our freshmen and transfer students, welcome to your first Mass.
We are all going through this together.
You're right, Emily, and that reminds me, there's always a rainbow after the storm, whether it's the current situation that we're in or the weather. But we have no control over this.
But no matter where we all are, we can all see this rainbow together after the storm.
But we as a community are there for you, like family. We have your back. We won't let you slip through the crack. We'll get through this storm and we'll see that rainbow. And that's our pact.
Thanks. Oh.
For them, families to know that someone really sees them, sees what they're going through, the hard work that they're doing, trying to make it work for their child, makes all the difference in the world. It's like someone came behind them and said, "You got it, we believe in you, we see you." And, it's the way that community functions.
Now I'd like to introduce Father Jim Sullivan, our beloved chaplain, who's going to tell you a little bit about our liturgies.
Well, once again, everybody, welcome and thank you for being here. On campus at Bishop O'Dowd and this year off campus, we have half a dozen major liturgies during the year. By major, I mean school-wide liturgies. These include the Holy Spirit Mass, which you saw a couple slides of there at the beginning of the year, the Christmas Advent Mass, the Ash Wednesday Mass, and so forth. Also, as Mary mentioned, and it's coming up now just in a couple of weeks, we have a multi-faith liturgy at Thanksgiving and school-wide, and it celebrates our diversity, not just in terms of, our ethnic diversity or that sort of thing, but also the fact that we are a community of diverse faiths. We're not just Catholic by any means. We have a number of faith traditions represented on campus, and we like to really give a big shout out to our faith diversity at the Thanksgiving liturgy. We have a few other big masses, for instance, the Senior Parent Mass, the Sophomore Mass in the spring, the Junior, and the Freshman Mass in the spring. Masses just for those particular classes. On Wednesday afternoon each week, I offer Mass in the chapel. It's strictly voluntary, anybody can come. At all of our Masses, we have a focus on the fact that we are a teen community, largely, obviously. We are teenagers for the most part in this community. And so the focus is to try to engage the students and to make the Mass or the liturgy as relevant as possible and as much as possible an enjoyable experience for our students. Students also lead in the planning and the direction of the liturgies. They lead us in prayer. They lead us in song. They serve at the altar. They lecture, and they work as ushers. So our students are very involved in our campus liturgies, and they help make them the joyful and inclusive events that they always are.
And now Karen Yavorsky, our retreat coordinator, will share a little bit about our amazing retreat program.
Hello, everyone. As Mary said, I'm Karen Yavorsky, retreat coordinator, and I also coordinate freshman and sophomore service learning. So we have a wonderful retreat program, and it is truly rooted in our charism of joy. It's a fun time for students to get away. It's incredibly popular, and we offer retreats at each grade level. So our freshman retreat is a day retreat where all of the freshmen come together for a day of activities, icebreakers, games, get to know you. Our senior leaders give talks about their own freshman experience, which supports the freshmen in being able to recognize that we're all in the same boat and get to know each other and share. It's a wonderful day in the fall where freshmen are still getting to know the campus and getting to know O'Dowd, so it's a wonderful time to come together. Our other retreats are overnight. So our sophomore retreat is our superhero retreat. We use graphic novels and superhero to focus on leadership. Our junior retreat is a Kairos retreat, which is a popular and very powerful 3-day retreat that can be really transformational. And our senior retreat supports our seniors as they're getting ready to move on to their next steps after high school. It's a way to get away, reflect, and connect. All of our retreats are focused on supporting our students in connecting with each other, connecting with themselves, and connecting with God. And they're a wonderful experience. They're mainly student-led, all the retreats except for senior retreat, and it's really wonderful to see our seniors shine as leading the underclassmen. And all of our retreats have financial aid support for anyone who's in need. So no one is not able to go because of financial reasons. So that's our retreat program. I'm going to pass back to Mary.
So just to mention a few other really quickly, some other things that we offer in campus ministry is I teach a year-long leadership and ministry course to 14 seniors. It's called our campus ministry team, and they're super involved, and I won't go through all the things that they do, but they're a huge group of leadership in terms of all the different ministries that we provide to our community. You saw in the video the St. Vincent's Day Home holiday drive, and we also in the spring have a drive for an economically poor community internationally. Some of the organizations that we've supported are Not for Sale, which is against human trafficking, Kiva, which is a microloan organization, and Doctors Across Borders. We also offer retreats for our faculty and staff. Father Jim offers peer ministry for each class, so for the freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. We also organize and coordinate daily school morning prayer, which is usually done over our PA system that goes into the classrooms. But this year we are doing it online. We've had 13 different student groups, leadership groups, and clubs take a week each to do morning prayer this year. And the prayers have been incredible expressions of our teens' faith and spirituality. We also offer reconciliation service and spiritual direction throughout the year with Father Jim, and have during Ash Wednesday, we offer a school-wide reconciliation service. And we also offer Advent and Lent series. So those are some of the other things that we do. And I have an amazing team to work with to be able to provide these kinds of ministries to our students and to our faculty and staff. And now I'd like to introduce Sarah Bauermeister, our Anawim project, our Service Learning Anawim project coordinator, who is also one of our very favorite Spanish teachers.
Thank you, Mary. Hello, thank you all so much for being here. I know it's kind of hard on a Friday afternoon. The weather's cold and drizzly out, but I'm excited to talk to you about our service learning program. I've been at O'Dowd for 15 years. I started as a religion teacher and now teach Spanish and do service learning. I love our service learning program because I really think it's one of our premier ways for students to get a little bit outside of the classroom and really learn about the world around them and what's important to them. And it really helps to shape who our students become in this world. Our service learning program is a 100-hour service requirement. As you can see from this step, it's broken down into 4 components. Obviously, it is focused on social justice, and we hope that through this program, we encourage the building of relationships relationships with people that you might not otherwise really get to know, folks who are vulnerable and marginalized. And it's through this relationship that we get to see the face of God. And it's through that seeing the face of God in the world around us that we become better people and that we're inspired to make change and impact the world in positive ways. So those are some overarching goals of our program. The first year, your freshman year, we have what's called the Common Home Project. It's where students are required to spend at least 10 hours working with the environment. It's a cry for listening to the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor. So that's your freshman year. Sophomore year, students do 25 hours serving youth, being mentors to the youth in our community. And it's helping sophomores to build up their leadership skills. They also spend a day at the St. Anthony's Foundation, at least during non-COVID times, to explore the issues of homelessness, since that's a huge issue in our world today, and to think about the structural impacts of that and what we can do to help alleviate that issue in our society. And then junior and senior year, in conjunction with your Peace and Justice class, we do a 60-hour project. Now, this project, students choose an area of interest to serve the marginalized community, and they have lots of options to dive deep and really take a closer look at these issues, whether it's working with folks who are disabled, or it's working with folks experiencing homelessness, or working in a social justice capacity with the Boys and Girls Club. There's so many opportunities. And really, again, the emphasis is on building relationships with folks, but because during COVID times, it's not always safe to be in close proximity with other people, we've expanded our program to include advocacy and education. So we have students doing all sorts of interesting things that really impact the world around them. And then once students have completed their 100 hours of service, they're free to continue on. We will document those hours. And if they get over 200, they can be a part of our 201 club. And we have many students at O'Dowd who have even documented well over 1,000 hours during their 4 years with us. So it's pretty exciting. And we're really proud of the amazing work that our students do during their time here at O'Dowd. And we really see it changing the paradigms in which they live and really going out to make the world a better place. So now I'm going to let Ms. Yavorski talk a little bit more about some specifics about our program.
Thank you, Ms. Bauermeister. So as Ms. Bauermeister said, our program this year is modified because of COVID. So one of the things that we've taken into account is the health and safety of our community. So this year, our students can do more than one location. They can do remote, indirect, and in person. So we're going to watch a video of Solina talking a little bit about her experiences this year, where she's worked with 3 different agencies.
I actually had a really good time doing all these hours at different places, and I think I learned a lot, and I had a really good time doing all the different activities and working with different people. So I'm really excited to be able to share about my experience. So for my honoring project, I worked with 3 different organizations. The first organization that I worked with was Canticle Farms, and Canticle Farms is an urban farm in Fruitvale, and it's basically a large community of different people that work towards sustainability. The other place I worked with was Meaningful Teens, and the project that I did with them was Project Diversidad, and I helped to tutor kids with reading. And then the last place I volunteered at was with Oakland Parks and Rec Youth Development, and I was part of the summer leadership program, so I created different video lessons with art and music, and it was like a small little virtual summer camp with videos that they would post on YouTube and their websites. So the organization that I'm going to talk about is Canticle Farms. Out of these 3 organizations that I worked with, I think that I made the most connections with Canticle Farms, and I think I just really enjoyed all the different things that I did, and I learned a lot. Okay, so Canticle Farms addresses a lot of different social justice issues. Right now, they're working a lot on access and community social justice work, giving resources and services to people in the Fruitvale neighborhood. And especially during COVID, they're doing a lot of work around that with food distribution and apothecary.
So Lena highlighted 3 organizations that she worked with, one of which, Canticle Farms, she spoke about, which fits very well with our requirements for our freshmen. So our 9th graders participate in the Common Home Project. It's a service experience designed to help them develop their kinship with creation, which is an essential part of our O'Dowd charism. They serve 10 hours at a placement somewhere in the Bay Area that's committed to environmental justice and sustainability and care for our common home, the earth. As the first service experience at O'Dowd, this project introduces our students to our charism of the joy of service. It also helps them learn foundational skills, things that are going to help support them as they continue in service learning, basic skills like scheduling, arranging, transport, and supervisor, as well as really supporting them in nurturing their relationship with the earth, the natural world, learning how environmental degradation affects marginalized populations, and enlivens their understanding of the Judeo-Christian faith tradition as one rooted in the earth. I want to point out on the slides, you can see different pictures, some examples of our Common Home Project. On the bottom right, you see the orange-ish red arch. That's from our own campus in our living lab. And there's also other community-based gardens and environmental justice organizations represented, like City Slicker Farms, Planting Justice, Canticle Farms, to name a few. So that's a summary of our freshman service requirements. And now I'm going to pass over to Michael Downs, who's going to speak more to our charism of kinship with creation.
Thank you, Karen. So the phrase common home is derived from Pope Francis's recent encyclical, Laudato Si, which reminds us that we are all interconnected and that we're called to care for one another and also for the earth, our common home. It's something we talk a lot about at O'Dowd, not just our relationship to the natural world, but also the fact that this campus becomes our common home. So I want to share a few student and staff perspectives on the notion of O'Dowd as our common home. Enjoy.
I feel most at home here at O'Dowd when I'm trying to make O'Dowd a home for other people. Because like maybe it's just like a little compliment, like maybe noticing somebody's haircut, or maybe they're sporting a new pair of kicks. So I feel like it's just these little things that really make people feel special.
So this hallway makes me feel at home. I teach in a lot of these classrooms right here on the first floor classroom building, and I just remember one day after a long break, and I came in through those doors at the end of the hallway, and like I smelled the smell of the hallway, and it just brought me such peace. I was like, I love it here.
I feel most at home and most myself in the living lab here at O'Dowd. It's far enough away from the classroom buildings and all the busy parts of the school that I can just drop all my stress and like anxiety from schoolwork and just be myself and calm down for the day. And it's just like working in the living lab during Eco Leaders or at a living lab work day, I feel so in tune with my like peers and community, and I just feel like such a part of this bigger piece of O'Dowd, and it just makes me feel really like at home.
For me, it's comfort to be in good old PE land, whether my office or the locker room. I've been here for 14 years, and kids usually know where to find me, so I'm pretty comfortable here. And, you know, I like the rest of the campus, but this is my home spot, my little funny chair, my messy little desk that's very comfortable. And this is my spot.
What's up, y'all? It's Aaron. I feel most home here in the gym, just because I play basketball, so that's where I like to be at.
When they're walking in on Mondays and they're like, Miss Sarmiento, I miss you this weekend. I'm just like, oh, my heart, right? It makes me happy that they want to be in my classroom and be with me.
At O'Dowd, the place that I feel most at home and most at peace at is the ASB office. So after ASB, we're still working hard and we're still planning. So we stay in here, we eat lunch, and then like kids will come through, and I think that's what makes it really special.
I feel most comfortable here at the amphitheater on campus because this is where you can behold the views across the bay on a good day. And the views across the bay really reminds me of the infinite possibilities that we're presented to in our future with the vast opportunities presented on the campus of O'Dowd. It is actually one of the primary reasons why I chose O'Dowd as my choice for high school, because I did see this balance between academic and, where you can embrace the nature.
Peace is when I hear morning prayer. Morning prayer really just calms down my nerves and gives me a peace of mind that today is going to be a good day.
So I feel most at home in the Living Lab. When I was a student here, the Living Lab was just getting started. And to come back now as a teacher 15 years later and see just how much it's grown and become part of the O'Dowd community in so many different ways. And it makes me feel like home because I see so many other students having that same experience that I did when I was a student.
So I feel most at home when I'm here at the football field. I think it's really nostalgic for me because as an alumni, I played football here 4 years. For me, like I can still remember exactly what my parents said at in the stand, exactly what my grandparents said at.
Home is a place where I can rejuvenate myself, where I can get to my quiet place. For me, the area right over the Living Lab is a place where I feel that sense of peace. My dad grew up in Oakland, and I can literally see his neighborhood from here. I grew up in San Rafael. I can see where I grew up. So this is where I like to come.
So at O'Dowd, we believe that finding God in all things calls us to kinship with creation, and how we treat the environment is a measure of our stewardship and a sign of our respect for the creator of this creation. And so this is something very unique to our campus, and has put us on the map in terms of being able to share the intersection of sustainability and spirituality and justice with other schools in the area and beyond. So as you heard earlier, we invite our students to really hear and respond to both the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor, which both science and spirituality affirm are interconnected. And at O'Dowd, sustainability manifests as a school-wide effort across our campus, curriculum, community, and culture. We aim to equip both our adult and student members of our community to make sustainable life choices, not to mention nurture a deeper connection with the natural world. Here's a few examples. The top right corner is our creation care team, who looks after our 4-acre living lab while integrating sustainability themes and practices into our curriculum and campus. The bottom left is the senior advanced leadership team, the eco leaders. And then you can see some other events that have happened in the spirit of sustainability. Campus infrastructure reflects our commitment to sustainability. It includes an award-winning Center for Environmental Studies, which you see at the top of this hill. It's equipped with solar panels, rainwater catchment system, and it provides an educational model for sustainable design. And then from a student perspective, our commitment to sustainability might be most epitomized through our Living Lab, which you heard referenced in the video, a 4-acre native plant community and sustainable garden. As a platform for experiential and multidisciplinary learning, the lab not only engages students with topics such as ecology and food systems, it also provides a peaceful setting for contemplative practice, meditation, and written observation. This experiential space, along with the integration of sustainability throughout O'Dowd's curriculum and infrastructure, create a culture, we hope, that empowers our students to be informed and passionate caretakers of the natural world and all of its inhabitants. So to share a few specific examples, I'd like to introduce my colleague on the creation care team, Isabel Rodriguez Vega.
Hello, everyone. And before I get into the specifics of our curriculum on campus, we're going to watch a short video made by the student leadership team that Mr. Downs referenced above, the Eco Leaders. And this is a video that they created just this past spring for Earth Week, where they had to shift and really get creative since we weren't able to do Earth Week on campus this year. So Michael, if you could start it just from 1 minute in, then that would be great.
Nature's been keeping me sane during this time by just giving me a place to escape when I'm feeling really overwhelmed from schoolwork.
During the quarantine, I've been taking, I would say, weekly, maybe twice a week hikes with my dog, just in areas around Oakland, East Bay. And it's been really nice to kind of get outside and, get away from my TV, my PS4, whatever. It's helped me be sane, helped me see other people a little bit, even though we're staying 6 feet away.
During this time in quarantine, I've been enjoying just like being outside because I've been able to reconnect with nature and my family a lot more. And I like to just like go on walks or hikes with my family pretty often, and it's just a nice way for us to like relax, get some fresh air, and just like enjoy the scenery around us that we usually took for granted.
So connecting with nature is helping me stay sane right now during this quarantine because I'm able to get outside and kind of focus on myself.
Nature is helping me stay sane right now, especially since like I'm cooped up in the house for majority of the time. I live right next to a hill, so I'm able to take walks pretty much every day, and I'm taking one right now.
But a big way that I stay sane regardless of the coronavirus is by exercising. And this has given me a time to pretty much learn how to run. I never really was a person that went on many runs, but I am now. And I've been going on runs in nature. I'm in this little view spot with my dog right now that we ran up to. So I hope all of you guys are finding ways to stay happy and stay sane. Nature is a great way. Exercising is a great way. Yeah, so I hope everyone's eating healthy, social distancing. We'll beat this one day at a time. I know it's really rough right now, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
And so although this year we have obviously had to make many shifts due to the pandemic, and we haven't had students on campus since March, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we weave sustainability into the curriculum at O'Dowd in non-pandemic times. So the Living Lab is our outdoor classroom on campus, and it is used by many teachers who wish to reinforce curricular themes through hands-on experiential learning. So freshman year, students get the most exposure to the Living Lab, primarily through the Science and the Environment class, which is the introductory science course for all freshmen. And in this class, students engage with the Living Lab by planting a marigold from seed and observing its growth over the course of 10 weeks, measuring the trees of the Living Lab and adding that data to our ongoing tree study, and testing the lab's pond water for dissolved oxygen, flow rate, pH, and nitrates. Other science classes also use the lab, most notably biology and AP environmental science, but it's not only science that enjoys the benefits of this outdoor space. Religion classes love to use the redwood circles as a peaceful setting for reflection, meditation, or dialogue. Spiritual ecology is a new course offered through the religion department that encourages students to nurture their spiritual connection with the natural world. Even English, math, and art classes find ways to connect their curriculum to the Living Lab, or simply just use the space as a way to change up the classroom setting. In addition to outdoor learning opportunities during class time, students also have many opportunities outside of class to get involved with the Living Lab. Many of the classes listed on the previous slide have what is called a beyond the classroom requirement, which students may fulfill in the Living Lab. We offer after-school service time once a week, which is usually focused on maintenance of our edible and native garden spaces, which you can see in the middle picture, 2 students with a wheelbarrow full of weeds. And students may also choose to come to the Living Lab during their flex period and do a hands-on workshop like natural dyeing with plants, which you can see in the picture on the bottom right. Other flex workshop topics have included fermentation, cooking, and chicken care. Saturday workdays in the Living Lab are offered once a month and usually get a large turnout of 50 to 100 volunteers, which you can see in the top right. We're all circled up on the patio there. And these workdays are essential to the maintenance of the physical space, but also bring together the community of the Living Lab. And it's not unusual to see alumni, parents, teachers, and local community members at the Saturday workdays, as well as students.
Thank you so much, Isabel. Before we wrap up, I just want to remind folks your questions are welcome, and we're going to reserve the last few minutes for those questions. You can go ahead and submit them in the chat to everyone or to one of the program directors you met, or you can just ask them aloud. The last piece we wanted to share is really a further extension of that notion of beyond the classroom. We believe that some of the best learning that happens, some of the most impactful and transformative experiences will happen outside the walls of the traditional classroom. So in the spirit of social justice, but also of kinship with creation, our justice immersion experiences are more than service trips. They're opportunities for students to learn from and with people they normally would not encounter, and to explore in community the richness of understanding from people who experience injustice daily. So our immersion participants will do the following. They'll be inspired and challenged to go deeper in their own personal faith or personal sort of reflection. They'll practice critical thinking skills for social analysis, which empowers them to work for justice. They'll give support in community to some of the daily struggles in a community that has a different world reality than we might in the East Bay. They'll experience firsthand the dignity of labor as they work with and for others. And finally, in the process, they'll embrace a simpler lifestyle and really reflect on what their true needs are. So more simply put, these justice immersion trips invite students to lean into the discomfort of other, and that they might encounter that spirit that connects us all in people they might not see on a regular basis. The 5 S's that govern our O'Dowd immersions are social justice, solidarity, service, spirituality, and simple living. Just a few snapshots to share before we close. Last year, for example, we had Bishop O'Dowd immersion trips to East Oakland at Canticle Farm, which you heard about earlier. An amazing example of the intersection of ecology, justice, and spirituality. We sent a group to Navajo Nation through an intercultural conversations program where they had a multi-generational profound experience with the Navajo Nation. We send students to the Appalachia regions where you see some of the worst environmental degradation, but some of the most beautiful people in this country. And finally to Washington, D.C., where they went to advocate for certain issues at the offices of their congresspeople. So thank you so much for your attention thus far. We're so grateful that you joined us. I'd like to turn it back over to Ms. Bauermeister to help us lift up some of your questions before we close.
We've had one question, and Isabel was going to answer it about lunch at the Living Lab. I'm not sure if you responded or not quite yet.
Yeah, I was just typing it up now, but it'll be faster if I just say it. So students may not be in the Living Lab unsupervised without an adult staff present, but sometimes we do offer lunch in the lab where myself or another teacher or staff member will make sure that they're down there during lunchtime, and students are welcome to come down, but it's usually kind of like an eco club thing, but any student is welcome to join Eco Club and come to lunch in the lab, but it doesn't happen all the time.
Does anyone else have any other questions they'd like to ask us? I guess we did a pretty good job then. Oh, here we go. What do you do with the produce? Oh, that's a great question, Isabel. What do you do with the produce you get from the Living Lab? And oh, how to be a part of the chicken tenders. I will say the chickens are one of my kids' favorites.
Yeah, great questions. So the produce we get from the Living Lab, what we call Living Lab soup every Wednesday at lunch when we're on campus. The cafeteria makes a special soup made with the produce from the Living Lab, and then we sell it outside of the cafeteria for only $1 a bowl. It's very popular. And then we also give some produce to the cafeteria, but it's not quite enough to like supply the cafeteria with all the food they need. And more recently, in times of COVID, Mr. Downs said that, oh, never mind. But in times of COVID, we have been donating produce and plant starts to OUSD families. And then the chicken tenders are, it's part of Eco Club, but it's a club of students that come into the Living Lab and take care of the chickens. And yeah, anyone's welcome to join that as well.
And how is the Living Lab being taken care of during quarantine?
So I just answered that briefly, and I want to make sure we open for some questions for campus ministry as well. The Creation Care team does have permission to be on campus, working social distance, of course. So they've made the best to manage the basic maintenance, along with a major installation of a new irrigation and planting plans. But I will say we miss our student and parent volunteers. So hopefully you all could be part of reinvigorating that next year. But the Creation Care team is keeping it alive and well.
I believe that's it, unless anybody has anything else.
Well, I would just like, on behalf of all of my amazing colleagues, to say thank you for coming today. We're delighted to be able to share some of what we do on campus with you. I'm particularly delighted to have several student faces in the crowd. That's actually one of the things I enjoy most about being working in O'Dowd is our students are a ton of fun. So I hope as you consider the high school that's best fit for you, we have lots to offer, and we're a really fun community with lots to do. So thank you, students, and thank you, parents, for joining us this afternoon. And feel free to, with the list of our email addresses, if you have any other questions that you would like to ask us about, please feel free to email us and we'll be in contact with you right away. So thank you, and blessings to you and your families as we head into our Thanksgiving season.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. It was great to have you here.
Good luck, 8th graders and parents, getting through this crazy year. Hope to see some of you next year.
Guys made me cry.
What? Yeah. Why? Made you miss it?
I love what you guys do so much. Oh. I love that the kids get to be out of the classroom with all of you. They need it so badly. I'm just so grateful to all of you. It was so good. I was literally crying. My husband's like, what is wrong with you? I listen to the kids and all the work that you guys do. It means so much. So thank you so much, everybody.
Oh,
we just had a local education celebrity join us, Jonathan Klein. But Jonathan, we just finished our presentation. I'm so sad.
Hey. We can do it again. We can do it again.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
I don't want to keep you.
Okay, bye, Karen.
Nice to see you. Happy Friday.
We've got a few other latecomers. I wonder if the message was missed. Jonathan, it's great to see you, buddy. We just had a 45-minute session. These are some of the awesome colleagues who shared. Jonathan is a great friend of mine, longtime education champion in Oakland, and also a climate education advocate in a major way.
Thanks, Michael. And I have a rising, an 8th grader and we're really appreciating this week of getting to know Bishop O'Dowd and appreciate all of you all. So thanks.
So we recorded the session. For anyone else that just joined late, our session was from 4 to 4:45, and we'll make sure this is available. But I think we can hang on for a few minutes if anyone else had questions. I'm seeing Roman, Gilda, and Jonathan.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for being with us.
Jonathan, how about you, man? You got
I think I'm good. I just like finished another Zoom and have been trying to plug into as many of these sessions as possible. So I know there are more coming up tonight. So yeah, I don't want to keep everybody. I'm really sorry to miss this session.
Yeah, I think
I'll check out the recording.
I think the next one is financial aid, if I remember, and that's probably happening very soon. So,
okay.
But we're so glad you joined us at the very.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Bye, Gilda. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, great job, you guys. Jonathan, see you soon, bro.